Good morning, everyone. My name is Jason Anderson. I wanted to say thanks to TiEcon. This is Novomer's first year here at the conference, and we're certainly honored to be one of the TiE50 and excited to talk to you a bit today about Novomer. So just a quick overview. Novomer, we're a sustainable chemistry company, and so we have is a set of catalyst systems. We're commercializing these to generate kind of a family of new, sustainable, low-cost chemicals and polymers. The company was founded on technology that came out of Ithaca, specifically Cornell University. The core of the technology platform is this proprietary catalyst system. Essentially what we're doing is we're taking carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide and converting those with the catalyst into these sustainable chemicals and polymers. So ultimately we believe we've got, depending on the market we're going after, somewhere between a 40 and 90% advantage from a carbon and energy footprint perspective. We can be cost competitive across the markets we're looking at. And where it's relevant anyway, we believe our polymers have performance advantages relative to existing materials. So ultimately, two technology platforms at Novomer that we're commercializing today. So one is carbon monoxide based, and there we're taking CO, a Novomer catalyst, and an epoxide, typically ethylene oxide in this case. And what the play there is around new routes to existing chemical intermediates. I'll talk a little bit more about it in the next slide. On the left-hand side here is our carbon dioxide platform. So here, we're creating a set of new materials, CO2-based, again a Novomer catalyst, and an epoxide. And what we've got is a polymer, or set of polymers actually, which can be modified to address a wide range of markets, plastics, coatings, composites, foams. We can go a bit more detail into those as well. So on the CO side of the world, again, here what we're talking about is new routes to existing chemicals. A lot of, obviously, chemistry up here, but essentially what we're doing is we're taking ethylene oxide in our catalyst and carbon monoxide. We do a single reaction, we can get to an intermediate called propylactone. You can take that to bulk chemical intermediates like acrylic acid or some of the acrylate esters. If you do a second reaction, you can get to succinic anhydride, and there, through known chemistry, you've got routes to succinic acid, butanediol, THF. A range of large volume chemical intermediates here, 12 billion or more in existing potential today. On the CO2 side of the world, so flipping over to polymers here, really three parts to Novomer's value proposition. So, at the top, the materials are sustainable. So by weight, they're roughly half CO2. So you're both displacing the oil that's used to create traditional polymers, or half the oil, and you're actually sequestering the CO2 in the polymer. CO2 is relatively cheap, certainly compared to oil, so we believe it will be low cost in the markets we're looking at. Depending on what market we're looking at, we've seen some unique performance properties, so barrier properties, good transparency, an interesting mix of hardness and flexibility in coatings. So really the intersection of those three is where we feel Novomer is playing. And we're looking at a wide range of markets with these materials. So the polymers, we've got a great ability to vary molecular weight. So on the right-hand side, we've got high molecular weight polymers. These are essentially thermoplastics. So looking at a range of flexible and rigid packaging applications, and also some interesting opportunities in ceramics and electronics. And then we can make a low molecular weight polymer. It's essentially a polyol material. So here we're talking about thermoset chemistries and looking at a range of markets, including coating resins, thermoset composite resins, and polyurethane foams. The one that I want to talk just a little bit more about today are ceramics and electronics on the right. So one of the unique properties of our material, polypropylene carbonate, is that it thermally decomposes at about 250 degrees. So these are used, polymers like this are used today in ceramics manufacturing to give people green strength, I guess. So you can tape cast a thin ceramic film, for instance. Before you fire it, it needs some strength, so polymers provide this. Our PPC can provide that strength, but it will then sort of burn out, right, thermally decompose at a lower temperature than what's used today, and actually has very, very low residuals. And so we're looking at, exploring the potential for this material in these kinds of uses across a few different markets. So in advanced ceramics, polymers like this are used today. And we feel like the clean burnout could improve performance, and the low temperature burnout could reduce energy use and cycle times. In electronics, PPC could be an interesting enabling material to help address some of the challenges around new processes today. A couple that I want to talk about, some work's been done at Georgia Tech. They've used our polypropylene carbonate to create very, very small air channels on silicon wafers. So this could be used for, cooling semiconductor devices or microfluidics, for instance. We've also looked at MEMS packaging. So the series of pictures on the bottom left here, essentially you've got your MEMS device, you can fill it with our polymer. Then you can coat it with the ultimate protective layer, and then you can thermally decompose our polymer through that. It's clean enough where the MEMS device still works once you've decomposed our polymer. So, we thought about this in terms of silicon wafer thinning as well for 3D TSV type applications. So a temporary adhesive layer between the functional wafer and some sort of substrate wafer. And you can simply thermally decompose it to remove the two. So a lot of interesting potential, I think, here we're starting to explore. And then quickly, at Novomer we use a partnership-based development model, so we're going after a lot of markets. We're a relatively small startup. So what we bring is the expertise around our polymer, and we look for partners in all these different markets who really understand the product performance needs, understand what they can afford in terms of cost, and help us bring these materials to market. So thank you.